Okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about another one of my methods that is very useful when it comes to early recovery. I call it the baby. And the way it works is this: it's more of a stance or an approach really, rather than a method. But it works this way. Let me ask you this: what have you decided to stop doing? What have you decided that you need to change about your life? Whatever progress you feel you need to make, whatever it is you need to stop doing, if you decided that 10 minutes ago, then we say you have a 10-minute-old baby. If you decided a week ago, I'm not going to do that anymore, right, there's a week-old baby. Now, that week-old baby is completely helpless, completely dependent upon you. So the method is to put that baby into your arms and to say, I've got a 1-week-old baby now in my arms, right? Now, if that was true, every decision you made for the next 6 months to a year would put that baby first. You wouldn't sit down or stand up or go out or come in without thinking, is this okay for baby? So the way to think about this is to compare and liken the development of your recovery with the development of a newborn. So what's fascinating to me about this is that any new or lifestyle change in your life, any new relationship, any new career can be likened this way. It's a fascinating thing that it seems to follow the same pattern. And when you look at it this way, then it gives you a good idea of the sort of time scale we're talking about. Because if we go to the graph here that explains it, anybody knows, even if you haven't had a baby, you know that if you're handed a baby anything up to 2 years old, every decision you're going to make is going to be about that baby. It's a hierarchy. Nothing comes before the baby. And so here's a graph that shows that every decision basically for that first 2 years is according to baby's needs. Now, if we compare that to the recovery stage, then we would say that it's exactly the same. Every decision you make for that first 2 years should be about your recovery. It should put your recovery first. Now, what happens when they go beyond that to 2 to 5 years? We call them then a toddler. And what we know is that they're then exploring on their own. They are always under your careful eye. But if they're in a pen, or if they're on a walker, or if they're at nursery, then you know that they're in good hands, you know that they're safe, and you can sometimes think about other things. You can sometimes do other things without putting them first. Now, 2 to 5 years, I would say that's still early recovery. People sometimes develop quickly and they come out of early recovery at 2. Sometimes it takes longer and they come out of it at 5. But somewhere between 2 and 5, you come out of early recovery. Of course, depending on the seriousness of your situation. So let's again compare that to the recovery stage, and we say that sometimes now you're making decisions that don't actually put your recovery first. It changes depending on the severity of the situation, but that is basically a good guideline. Now, what happens when they get to 5? Well, of course, we all know they're off to school, and sometimes you can spend all day without thinking about them because they're in good hands, they're learning, and they're developing. So what happens here at your recovery stage? Well, basically we're naturally developing at this point, and we can now turn our attention from always thinking about what's my need here for recovery, and thinking about achieving other things. So there's an important point here to be made, which is that if you get to 5 years and you're still thinking about, oh, my recovery has to come first, you're still treating your recovery like a little baby, well then you're not developing. You see, there's a natural development into recovery. And if you're not doing that, then what you're probably doing is you're putting too much emphasis on abstinence, which again comes from the recovery, the medical model, and you're not putting enough attention into your development as a person. Is it too hot for baby? Is it too cold for baby? Has baby been out too long? Does baby need feeding? right? Do I need to take baby home to go to sleep and so on? All of those questions, notice baby comes first. Now, I find this works just as well for men as it does for women. So picture yourself now. Think about how long ago it is that you decided to make this change in your life and put that baby in your arms at that age. So your baby is a week old or a month old or however old for you, okay? And remember, every decision from now on includes that baby and puts that baby first. Whatever situation, if that baby can't survive in that situation, the situation has to go. That's it. It's as simple as that. Now, having something to focus on, like something as precious as a human life, that's really going to help you, okay? So remember the question, right? Is this okay for baby? Is this atmosphere okay for baby? Has baby been out too long? Do I need to take baby home now? Is it too hot? Is it too cold? Does baby need feeding? All of those questions are perfectly relevant when it comes to this method. And we call it the baby.